All right, guys. Uh our sisters is at it again, man. Oh man. I told you guys this over the course of several years. If you've been subscribed to this channel for years, you guys know that this whole narrative, even before, I was attacking this narrative before. This is the thing about this channel. You can go back and look at my old live streams, my old videos from 2, 3 years ago. I was attacking this before the BLM spring in the year of BLM, which will, the anniversary will be on the 25th in a few days of a year since they took over the world. And aside from the murder rate exploding, aside from carjackings going through the roof to the point now where people are being followed home from stores on the regular and robbed, despite the increase in crime and destruction on all groups of people by the group that we were protesting for, another thing that we have going on is these cities, who these cities are being run by, is starting to come to light. And it's starting to be revealed that this narrative that racism was rampant and there were no opportunities and black women and black men can't get no jobs and is actually starting to be proven to be actually the opposite, that they run every damn city. That's crap. If you go to any city that's a cesspool or a sugar honey iced tea hole, you're going to find an all black city council, a Wakandan mayor, a Wakandan police chief, or all three, either all three or two of those. The city council, predominantly black, and the police chief or the mayor. Some of these cities, it's all three. And then in the cities where it's not all three, the state representative, the Congress person for that place is a brother or sister. Most likely a sister. But brothers ain't doing no better either. No better. None. They just have less opportunities. Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren says husband's coke and gun arrest is about politics. Or could it be about the same reason when the feds raided my house? Well, it was actually the DC narcotics division, but you know, police, all the matter. When they raided my house in 2008, maybe it was about the fact that your husband was selling drugs and they did an investigation over a series of weeks or months, usually 90 days, surveillance, sending usually surveillance or undercovers also, or both, as well as, you know, tapping phones and things like that. And they got enough evidence and they took some paperwork to the judge, and the judge signed off on the search warrant. It said, well, looking at this evidence that you guys collected over these weeks or months, I feel like you have legitimate cause that if you go in there, you're going to find something illegal. So we're giving you a search warrant. And they gave him a search warrant. And yeah, like with me, they found some stuff. And they was right. And it wasn't a no-knock warrant with me. With me, it was a knock warrant. Because they just were able to come in because my cousin was out front and she was smoking a blunt and she left the door ajar. So when they rolled up, they were able to say that the door was ajar, the front door was ajar, so they didn't have to knock. It's a loophole they have. If the front door is ajar, they don't have to knock, so they were able to just come in. And so it wasn't even like it wasn't even like none of that. It was just like, what's up, fellas? Like, what the hell? That's a long story. It was a crazy story. I'm not gonna get into that because we're talking about Lovely Warren, but I just want to let you guys know that, like, they not kicking down, they not coming in your house for no reason. They not just sitting in the police station, the major narcotics unit of whatever city division, and pulling people's names out of hats. Like, who we gonna raid today? Johnny McClinton. Like, it don't work like that. They gotta go through a lot, relatively a lot, to even get permission to come into your house. Cause we gonna have a lot of brothers online that don't know, or that they know. Cause I ain't gonna say they don't know. They know. They just it just served their audience to say, like, they ran in her house because she was black male. When we know every goddamn city the man black. Every last city the man black. So you telling me every goddamn city, why they ain't running Keisha Bottles? Why they ain't running Lori Lightfoot? Man, woman, goddamn. Somebody said Lori Lightfoot partner looked like Bill Lambier. Why they ain't running Lori Lightfoot partner's house and just plant some coke and guns on her? Huh? What about Tashara Jones in St. Louis? What about all these women all over the place? Muriel Bowles in D.C. All over the goddamn place. Every city got the goddamn black female man. Why they ain't do that to them? Just the political politics. So, in another thing about these no-knock warrants, man. And these things, we won't get into this with Lovely, but I just want you black folk, you squares, especially y'all ones that's at the front of this movement to defund the police, that were rightfully put on Colin Kaepernick's book before y'all, switched up and said that, you no longer are with defunding the police because your sisters started getting killed in record numbers after they defunded the police. So salute to the sisters for reversing course. But sisters were at the forefront of the defund the police movement. Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, Opal Tometi, Tamika Mallory, just to name a few. To talk to you sisters and you square brothers that don't understand how deep the streets is, and that ain't nobody out here just picking on brothers, because the brothers that's getting their doors kicked in are getting their doors kicked in for a reason. And the sisters like Breonna Taylor, there's a reason, okay? No-knock raids became a big thing because of Breonna Taylor, and it was made a racist thing. So they do 50,000 no-knock raids a year. Okay? 50,000 across the country. Now, we heard about Breonna Taylor. Okay? That was racism. cops had it out for her. And they wanted to destroy the black community by getting rid of, it was a hit. It was a hit on Breonna Taylor. Okay. Because you never see a black EMT, because they say it was a black EMT, and they had to get her out the paint, because kids see that there's black EMTs, black kids see that, they're going to rise up and take over the country. So there's 50,000 no-knock raids a year. 50,000. You heard of one last year. So logically, someone would say, well, damn, if that one happened and it's 50,000 of them a year, like they do that 50,000 times, because you got to understand there's 17,985 police departments in this country. 17,985 police departments in this country. I mean, it is what it is. Like, just think about all the districts. When you leave your little city or your town, all the ones you see, you go through this town, then this town, this town. That's just your little area. So throughout the course of the country, over a year, they do 50,000 no-knock raids. One went wrong to the point where, because if another one went wrong, I want y'all to say this. With the whole narrative this last year being that racism, if another one had gone wrong involving a black person, because if a white person, then nobody would care. But if another one had, or Hispanic person, nobody would care really either. They'd halfway care. If just one, which would have made two out of the 50,000, had gone wrong, we would have heard about it. If another black person selling drugs or involved in a drug syndicate to the point where their home was perceived to be a stash house or a place where drugs and money were kept, or packages were received for a drug organization, you'd have heard about it. So basically what we have here is 49,999 of them went smoothly. One went wrong, where the boyfriend shot the cops and they returned fire. The boyfriend shot the cops, ducked behind a wall, and when the cops returned fire, his girlfriend was sitting right there and she absorbed all the bullets. So that one went wrong. I'll give you that. Racism. But could it be not racism? Or what's the opposite of racism? Goodness, fairness, and the other 49,999? I'm just asking, man.
Breaking news from News 8.
Good afternoon. The husband of Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren, Timothy Granison, pleading not guilty to drug and weapons charges in a Rochester courtroom this morning. Granison, one of 7 people arrested so far as part of an alleged mid-level drug ring in Rochester. This after state police executed a search warrant at the mayor's home last night.
Let me just say this. 7 people arrested. Those other 6 people gonna talk. So whatever, if this is some conspiracy just to take down a black woman who's the mayor of a city, one of the hundreds of black women as the mayors of cities in this country, if this was a concerted effort just to take her down in Rochester, those 6 other people are going to be talking, but that's what they're going to say when they're talking. Or they're going to say something else. Okay? Or they're going to say, yeah, man, the mayor's husband was doing this. We was doing it. You know, like they're going to talk. Everybody's trying to get the best deal they can to get the least amount of time. So they're going to tell the truth about what happened so they can get the least amount of time. They're not going to lie. They're going to tell the truth. So we don't have to worry about getting the truth when you have that many co-defendants. Brothers is going to tell the truth.
Granison, one of 7 people arrested so far as part of an alleged mid-level drug ring in Rochester. This after state police executed a search warrant at the mayor's home last night. The mayor has not been charged, but DA Sandra Dorley says the investigation is ongoing. Team coverage on this breaking story here at noon. Allie Peters has more on Granison's court appearance. But first, Kayla Green was there as the DA and state police detailed a 7-month investigation leading to the charges.
Let me just tell you this, man. Like I said, when they kicked in my door, they had done 90 days of surveillance. Just watching, because, I was selling weed. I had people traffic. It's like a weed house with just dimes, dubs, nickels. I sold some weight on the side, but it was mostly just dimes, dubs, and nickels. And it was like a revolving door. Everybody in that area was coming to get weed from me. So I would break let's just say I break a quarter pound down. Out of a quarter pound, you break that down into about between 35 and 40 dubs. So I was moving like, let's just say, a quarter pound to half a pound a day, which is not, like you said, mid-level. But it was so much traffic. Just people pulling up, coming in for 2 seconds, leaving right back out. People pulling up, cars pulling up, people coming in for 2 minutes. I got to the point where I tried to get people to stay. I said, man, just stay for a little bit, man. Stay. Because I knew I was hot. Because I just knew. I knew I was hot. My neighbors was telling me, they was like, man, you hot. But I couldn't stop. And they only did 3 months investigation on me. 7 months investigation, man. Come on, man. Oh, just because the mayor of Rochester to take her down. Do you know how many heads gonna roll at the police department if this was just some reason to take her down? Do you understand how many heads would roll? The whole world just watching this. All the independent investigators find out that there really wasn't no drug sales going on. They just concocted this scheme to take down a black woman. The media, the liberal media would find that out within 2 seconds. And everybody at the police department would have to resign, and then they would be under investigation. Then they would get charged with stuff. 7-month investigation. Whew. That's a long investigation, Jack.
Kayla, the DA says this was not politically motivated. What else did she say?
Well, Mark, she says this investigation is very significant and these 7 arrests could just be the beginning. She says they searched 7 homes and several cars yesterday, and they do have a lot more searching to do in the coming days. She says they have secured a total of $60,000 worth of powder and crack cocaine, a total of 2 kilos, several firearms, and $100,000 in cash. She says they stopped Warren's husband, Timothy Granison, in a car yesterday, but say he wasn't the original target of the investigation. Dorley says about 4 months into the investigation, Granison became a target, so the DA's office stopped working with RPD and called in the New York State Police. She says they found cocaine and an unregistered firearm in Granison's home and confirms the mayor is still living there as well. Police say the mayor wasn't home at the time the search warrant was executed, but her daughter was. They allowed Granison to speak to his daughter, then she called a family member to come pick her up. Dorley wouldn't comment on whether Warren could be implicated in the investigation or whether she was heard on the wiretaps. She says one of the 7 homes searched yesterday was Granison's brother. Dorley says there's still more homes and cars to search, but this is already a large-scale investigation.
Well, I think it's very significant. Again, we would deem this to be mid-level suppliers. And if you think about the amount of cocaine that we were able to seize with a street value of over $60,000, that's significant. And again, that was powder and crack cocaine.
So, in the year of Black Lives Matter, with the whole world watching, they gonna arrest 7 people, plus more to be arrested, search 7 homes, find $60,000 worth of powder, find $100,000 on a black mayor's husband selling drugs in the black community, which we know causes violence. Crack and coke cause violence. They bring violence to neighborhoods. And they get people's parents strung out and kids put in foster homes. I talked about Micaiah being in foster home and the system failed her. Nah, you end up in foster home not because the system failed you. You end up in foster home because this is a great country and we have a thing called foster homes. Be a foster kid in Africa. You're going to be walking around starving. Your parents going to take you to the village and tell everybody you're a witch. And abandon you in some village somewhere. But that's how kids end up in foster home. The parents strung out on drugs. Crack.
You know, we would deem this to be mid-level suppliers. And if you think about the amount of cocaine that we were able to seize with a street value of over $60,000, that's significant. And again, that was powder and crack cocaine.
Police say they are trying to interview the mayor through her lawyers, and they say the investigation is not politically motivated because, again, Grannison was not an original target. Live in Rochester, Kayla Green, News 8.
So the husband wasn't the original target. They were investigating some other people. And during their investigation, this 7-month investigation, is like, oh, shit. The mayor's husband is a part of this ring. Wow. So that throws out completely their whole racism and they attacking the black female mayor. I mean, one of the hundreds of black female politicians that run these cities. The one in Rochester. It went after the one in Rochester. Because he got caught up in another. See, that's different. See, when that's the case, like they was investigating some dudes banging out the projects. Or some dudes banging out of a bando in the hood. And then they investigated, and next thing you know, all the tangled webs led back to the mayor's husband. Oh, so this was definitely not politically motivated. Or code word, because politically they mean racially.
Say the investigation is not politically motivated because, again, Grannison was not an original target. Live in Rochester, Kayla Green, News 8.
Kayla, thank you for the live update. We turn to Allie Peters, who was at Grannison's court appearance this morning. Allie, he appeared via video conference, correct?
Yeah, correct. Timothy Grannison just left the Monroe County Jail moments ago, walking out from these doors you see behind me. He did appear via video for his arraignment this morning, where his attorney entered a not guilty plea to weapon and drug charges. So here's what we know about those charges so far. Grannison is facing 2 counts of criminal possession of controlled substance in the 3rd degree and criminal possession of a firearm. News 8 did get the chance to speak with Grannison's defense attorney after.
You see them prayer hands? He know how much trouble he in. Body language. One thing, you can lie with your mouth, but it's very, very hard to lie with your body. You can't. He know he in trouble. Like he not, man, this is bullshit, man. I had nothing. No, he know he in trouble. He when they told him we've been following y'all for 7 months, tapping y'all phones, listening to y'all conversations for 7 months, surveilling y'all, following y'all in unmarked cars for 7 months, he know he in trouble, Jack. I know that feeling, man. It's one thing to get pulled over and they find some weed under your seat. You done stuffed the weed. You done got pulled over. You done hurried up and stuffed the dime bag under your seat. It's another thing for them to say we've been just watching you. Like that guy who came into your house and bought that quarter pound or that ounce. Yeah, he's one of our guys. He was with us. There you go right there. You know? Oh, yeah, your phone, yeah, your conversation. Here go a transcript, not even a recording. We wrote down everything that you said. On this day, you called so-and-so at 6 o'clock and said X, Y, Z, and he said X. And when they come to you with that, he know he in trouble. I feel sorry for the brother because, like, that feeling, I know that feeling. Like, where you just like, oh, man. Like, it ain't no, see, it was his bag. I just bought this car. That bag could have been under the seat when I bought this car. I bought this car from the auction. No, this is, no, Jack, we've been following you around for 7 months and we had your phone tapped for 7 months, nigga. We gonna even when we go to court, we might even mess up your marriage, cause while we was tapping your phone, we got conversations with all your side joints. Okay.
Granison is facing 2 counts of criminal possession of controlled substance in the 3rd degree and criminal possession of a firearm. News 8 did get the chance to speak with Granison's defense attorney after today's proceeding. John DeMarco says the allegations are that Granison had possession of contraband, which he says appears again to be cocaine. Now, DeMarco said also it's alleged that there was an unregistered firearm inside Granison's home, but he says he hasn't heard that that firearm was illegal, just that it wasn't registered to anyone living there. According to DeMarco, this investigation again started before yesterday's search warrant.
Clearly, the investigation was beyond yesterday's events. My understanding is that they executed a series of search warrants. There may have been other properties other than my client's home. Those search warrants would have needed to be signed by a judge and accompanied by supporting affidavits, which obviously would have taken time to compile.
Now, Granison was released in his own recognizance, which means he doesn't have to pay bail.
That's your husband, Queen? And I'm not, but he looked like he looked like some hard rocks, man. These look like some, some dudes been in and out the joint. And he looked like some dudes that, at home in any hood. These look like some hard rocks, man. Wow. Queen, man, lovely. This the crowd you was hanging around, lovely? And isn't it a great country? This brother's out, man. He on the streets, man. His brother home. He may be watching my video.
Now, Granison was released in his own recognizance, which means he doesn't have to pay bail, but he must show up to all court appearances or he could go back to jail. Now, Granison is expected to be back in court on June 21st at 10 a.m. The DA's office says they do plan to present this case to the grand jury before his next court appearance. Live in Rochester, Allie Peters, News 8.
All right, Allie, thank you so much. And we should reassert that investigators have yet to speak to Mayor Warren about this matter. She is, of course, up for re-election this year. For mayor of Rochester, the Democratic primary is set for June 22nd, one day after Granison's next scheduled court appearance. For more on this investigation as it develops, please go online at rochesterfirst.com.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me here. Let's ask ourselves why. Many emotions have gone through my head, starting with confusion, anger, betrayal, and hurt. This past year, I've faced insurmountable odds. I lost my mom, my mentor and father figure, faced COVID and civil unrest. It knocked me down, but not out. I said that this is my Job year, having been baptized at the age of 13 and always relying on my faith to carry me through. I made the tough decisions and choices to beat every obstacle, at times faced with sickness and near death, but God brought me through. That leads me here today. I woke up with my daughter in my arms. She looked at me and said, "Mommy, this is not your fault. Don't give up." I woke up to the fact that the man that I have signed a separation agreement with many years ago, and both of us making a conscious decision in the interest of our child to co-parent together, is accused of committing a crime. I woke up to the fact that some people would do anything to try and break me. You see, I woke up to the fact that the State Board of Elections would lie and send documents full of untruths. A document that did not follow the law sent to the DA, a DA who was eager and angry at me for supporting her opponent, that she would even make a deal with the convicted criminal to harm me.
Let me just talk about that deal with the convicted criminal stuff, man. Because a lot of squares and lames always say, well, that person is a criminal. Who else you gonna get the information from? If a nigga gets shot in a dice game behind a liquor store in the hood, what you gonna ask the librarian what happened? You gonna ask the brother who wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work a 12-hour shift and come home, kiss his kids and go to sleep just to do it all over again? You gonna ask him what happened? Or you gonna ask a crackhead who was milling around trying to, you know, just be on the scene trying to get something out of one of them hustlers that was at the dice game? Or you gonna ask one of the dudes that was at the dice game who ready to, you know, cooperate because he need less time? The dudes that you gonna get information from about street shit is gonna be criminals. Okay? It ain't gonna be squares. It ain't gonna be the goddamn deacon at the church. It's gonna be somebody who was there, who know what's going on.
A DA who was eager and angry at me for supporting her opponent, that she would even make a deal with the convicted criminal to harm me. I woke up to the fact that the recording allegedly containing evidence in my case mysteriously disappeared or stopped working, but we're supposed to trust them. I woke up to the fact that in my situation there are many inconsistencies. I woke up to the fact that people will try anything to break me. But every step of the way, God has guided my path. He showed me the way to repair our police department. He showed me the way to fully fund the Police Accountability Board. He showed me that greater is He that is in me than that He that is in the
Okay, so she been reforming the police and funding the Police Accountability Board or whatever the hell she talking about. defund the police. So meanwhile, her baby daddy, because now she's trying to distance herself from him. He ain't no longer her husband. He separated. We separated and we co-parenting for the sake of our child. So that's your baby daddy, right? Okay. So I play with you. I play nigga games. So your baby daddy is slanging that raw, that cooked coke, slinging that butter in the hood. That booger sugar. Your baby daddy is the booger sugar man in Rochester. Meanwhile, you was defunding the police. Wow. And then you want to know why Colin Kaepernick why she the face of Colin Kaepernick book. Huh? I can't do this. I don't understand why Colin used my image for his book. Yeah. So she knew her baby daddy was running them streets. She knew there was a lot of crime and coke going on in the streets of Rochester. And she still chose to defund the police. Assisting the criminals, aiding and abetting. Well, I can't understand why Colin would use our image.
He showed me the way to repair our police department. He showed me the way to fully fund the Police Accountability Board. He showed me that greater is he that is in me than that he that is in the world. He showed me how to overcome. And just when I began to see things a little bit clearer, he also showed me that things are not that different from the 1860s and the 1950s. So let's ask ourselves why. Why? I find the timing of yesterday's events, 3 weeks before early voting starts, to be highly suspicious. There's nothing implicating me in these charges announced today, because I've done nothing wrong. I haven't spoken to Tim since his arrest, and I'm not standing here to defend him. Again, we had a separation agreement that was signed years ago, and we made a conscious decision to co-parent in the best interest of our daughter, to provide her the love and support that she deserves. But we still need to ask ourselves, why? Why would they do this now?
Well, goddamn it, woman, they had been investigating for 7 months, man. How long? What, they were supposed to investigate it for 10 years and wait till you get reelected and serve your next term before they busted them? They investigated them for 7 months. They had enough evidence to go to trial and get convictions, so they ended the investigation. What you mean, why now? That's why. Not because it's the 1860s and the 1860s all over again. What the hell are you talking about, woman? What's this woman talking about, man?
But we still need to ask ourselves, why? Why would they do this now? Because they saw, like you saw, that the momentum was building in our favor in the mayoral race, and I was going to be found innocent in my election law case because I did nothing wrong. Let's ask ourselves why, after I announced we were moving forward with reparations.
She talking about this election law case, so she already got she got her own case. She got her own case aside from this. Okay, let's see what Lovely done got herself into. Because she in trouble in her own right aside from this. So, October 5th, 2020, Rochester mayor pleads not guilty in campaign finance case.
Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren and 2 others are facing felony criminal charges connected to campaign finance issues during her 2017 run for re-election. Christian Garzone has been on this all afternoon. He joins us now live outside of City Hall with more. Christian.
Adam, we spoke today to city leaders and lawyers who had a lot to say about the charges against Mayor Lovely Warren and 2 others. DA Sandra Dorley said we could be talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in all this. Now, the lawyer for the mayor says they actually look forward to their day in court because that will clear the mayor's name.
Who thinks that she done stole hundreds of thousands of dollars and then her baby daddy is involved in a mid-level, which is like he not goddamn Pablo Escobar or Rayful Edmonds or somebody like that, but goddamn, he in the game deep. Who think that these 2 cases ain't gonna intersect at some point? And we not gonna find out that she was funding the drug operation, or she was put the front money, or she was washing money, or something involved with this drug operation. Who thinks that that the 2 don't have something to do with each other?
About the charges against Mayor Lovely Warren and 2 others. DA Sandra Dorley said we could be talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in all this. Now, the lawyer for the mayor says they actually look forward to their day in court because that will clear the mayor's name. In 2017, Mayor Lovely Warren's opponents complained about a transfer of money from Warren's Political Action Committee to her campaign committee, saying it was illegal and should be investigated. And now it has been.
We assert by this indictment that this is allegedly a scheme to defraud.
A Monroe County grand jury handed up an indictment against Mayor Lovely Warren and 2 others who worked to get her reelected, Albert Jones Jr. and City of Rochester Finance Director Rosalind Brooks Harris.
Whenever there's, an allegation of public violation of public trust, it does, it's a horrible thing to see in any community. And of course, I was, very disappointed.
At the time, the Warren campaign apologized for what they called a PayPal error, but Dorley says this was no mistake. The lawyer for Mayor Warren says prosecutors will have to show there was criminal intent to violate the penal law and election law.
The board gave them some advice and they took it. They did exactly what the board said to do.
Rachel Barnhart, who ran against Mayor Warren in 2017, today saying this is a sad day for Rochester.
The magnitude of these allegations are nothing short of cheating.
Barnhart says this will plunge the city deeper into crisis, but legal expert Robert Brenna wants to remind everyone that these are still only indictments.
She will always be innocent and presumed innocent unless and until she is found guilty of it by a jury of her peers.
Now, all defendants are scheduled to be arraigned on Monday. From City Hall, Christian Garzone, News 8. Adam, back to you in the studio.
Christian, thank you.
And you can go to any place where these people at, and you won't find the same thing. Any place. Corruption, stealing, fraud. Maybe you won't find the baby daddy trying to be a kingpin, but you'll find other ones of that. You'll find other cases of that, but you won't find it everywhere. But just crime and criminality, and meanwhile talking about this 1860 all over. Hit the like button. Get in the comment section. Peace. I'm out.